Just a heads up before jumping into the video here, this video will contain spoilers for both the main story and the extra story Future Connected. If you haven't finished both of these stories and you care about getting spoiled, put this video in your watch later and return after you've beaten both of those stories. We're about to jump into a spoiler right away here, like literally now, so close the video if you care. Those of you that decided to stick around, welcome. This is Xenoblade Chronicles Definitive Edition, and today I'm going to be talking about the time trial mode that was added in the Definitive Edition release of the game, as well as some New Game Plus exclusive glitches that rely on a time trial exclusive glitch in order to set up. All of my files here are New Game Plus files, but that doesn't really matter. I've beaten the final boss and continued playing on each of them, and all of them have level 99 characters, in other words, max level characters with maxed out arts. I'm just going to load the top file here, as it is perfectly set up to show off what I need to today. When we load in, I'm going to go and enter the time trial portal here, because I need to show something off that explains why I'm going around and doing what I will be soon after. In here, we can talk to the Nopon Archsage and enter the Trade Items menu. After we've reached Prison Island 2 in the main story, the Collectibles menu is unlocked within the Trade Items menu. This is very important, as this is how we're going to set up and activate the time trial exclusive glitch. We're going to find a quest that requires one of these items in order to complete it. I'll be showing off 3 different quests that I know of, though there may be more, and you only need one of them in order to pull this off. So, first of all, let's go and find these quests. The first quest is near the Ether Light in Colony 9. You can go over to this guy here and he'll have a quest for you. In my case, I've already picked this one up. This is the Collection Quest 1, which requires 2 rabbit diodes in Colony 9. The second one is near Tranquil Square, also in Colony 9. You can run up these stairs here, and then go around and talk to this chef. She gives you a quest where she's looking for 2 rainbow zirconias. The final quest that I know of is near the Magmel Ruins in Tephra Cave. Once we load in, we're just going to go up the ramp and then through the center door. The NPC that we want to talk to is the one on the right here. Speak with her, and she'll have another collection quest for us, which is collect 2 kneecap rocks in Tephra Cave. As I said before, you only need one of these. Now, I'm going to go back to the Gemman stall and enter the time trial grounds again. This is just my preferred time trial portal. It doesn't matter which one you use. You can use any of them found within the game. Now, I'm going to speak with the Nopon Archsage again, go to the Trade Items Collectibles menu, and what I'm going to do is purchase a rabbit diode. I now have 2 rabbit diodes, which means that I've completed the quest, but the dialogue can't pop up while I'm in this menu. So I'm going to back out of there. Do not hit cancel or be here. Instead, you're going to enter Attempt Trial and go to Restricted. Restricted is very important here because we need to get rid of our current party. Free mode won't do that, but restricted will, so it has to be restricted. Additionally, there are a couple things that we need to know about the restricted parties here. Whichever restricted challenge you choose does have a big effect on your resulting New Game Plus file, so listen close. The levels that the restricted characters are set to will carry over into the New Game Plus file. So for example, uniquely disadvantaged here, Fiora, Melia, and Sharla are all level 99, so they will be level 99 in the New Game Plus file. However, if you were to use Humble Beginnings, Shulk and Rhine would be set all the way back to level 20 instead of being level 99, where I currently have them now. Everybody that isn't listed in the restricted party will be unaffected level-wise, so you don't have to worry about that. Another thing you need to take into consideration here is that you are going to lose the majority of progress on your arts levels across every character, with a couple exceptions. What I mean by that is you can press X to open the art settings menu here. The arts that Fiora currently has equipped will continue to be level 10 in the New Game Plus file, but all of her other arts, like Airfang, which are not equipped, will be set back to level 1. That goes the same for Melia and for Sharla as well. And then every character not listed here, Shulk, Dunban, Ryan, and Ricky, will all have their arts set to level 1. Now, there is an exception to this as well. Every art that is set to level 1 will be treated as level 0, not level 1. And I'll explain that later because right now it won't make any sense, but keep it in mind. One other thing to note here is that if you perform this glitch on a restricted party that doesn't have Shulk, you will lose access to leveling every Monado art except for Enchant and Buster. One exception there is that you can re-obtain the Eater records and the Armor records through their respective quests in the game, and then you'll be able to level those back up. However, you will not be able to level Shield, Speed, Purge, or Cyclone by performing this glitch. The exception to that is that you could do Sparks Fly, You Die. In here, Shulk has access to Buster, Enchant, Shield, Speed, and Purge, which means that you'll still be able to level Shield, Speed, and Purge in the New Game Plus file. However, you're going to lose Cyclone entirely, and I don't think that you can get it back. As, you know, you kind of don't relearn story-based arts in New Game Plus. If I'm wrong about that, please feel free to let me know. But from what I've seen, you will not gain access to Cyclone ever again. Regardless, though, even if you do uniquely disadvantaged, Shulk will lose access to Cyclone, but he'll still have it on his bar. Doing Sparks Fly, You Die means that it gets taken off of his bar as well, so choose wisely. Anyways, I'm going to do uniquely disadvantaged here, just because I want to keep my level 99 characters, or keep everyone at level 99.
Not on Archsage expecting good record.
If you heard that there, right after the Nopon Archsage finished talking, the collection quest complete dialogue came up. Generally, I wait about 8 seconds once this screen is done loading, and then I'll accept the dialogue here. And you'll see that it didn't say time trial start. This is because that dialogue completely interrupted it. Additionally, we can enter the main menu, which you normally can't do in the time trial modes. Now, this is important. While in this main menu, within time trial, do not enter change equipment, do not enter skill trees, and do not enter arts. All of those could legitimately crash your game, and then you'll have to reset everything, or set everything back up again. It doesn't cost that much time, but it is annoying. Additionally, we can't get out of here because you're restricted from skip travel or quick travel while you're in time trial. So the only other option is to die. So I'm going to swap Melia to the front, which is perfectly fine. I haven't had a game crash happen on party swap. And then I'm just going to let them kill me. So where will this put me? Well, it'll put me right outside the portal that I entered. In other words, right back in front of the Gem Man stall. Now, if I open the main menu, I still only have the restricted party. I don't have my regular party back. This is what we want. This is mandatory for setting up the glitch. I don't want to save this data over any of my main files, so what I'm going to do is I'll use the autosave that was generated. If you didn't get an autosave generated when you got ported back out here, you can just quick travel back to the Gemman stall, and that'll activate an autosave as well. After that, I'm going to go back to the title screen, and I'm going to hit New Game Plus and use the autosave as my save game file. Again, you don't have to use autosave for this. I choose to, but you don't need to. Here we go, load up the autosave. Now, because this is New Game Plus, we're going to have to go through the starting enemies again, so just give me a moment while I beat the Mechon in Sword Valley and the initial Crabble fight in Colony 9. You may be looking at my damage output and wondering why I'm dealing so little damage compared to normal. That's because, like I said earlier, everything is treated as level 0, not level 1, and not where it was before, which is level 12, right? Everything is set back to level 0. And this will make a lot of sense very soon. I just need to kill this Crabble. Okay. When you open the arts menu, you're going to see that you're missing your arts list entirely. This means that the glitch was successful. You can now inherit arts from other characters onto any character you want. The process for this is very simple, though it is RNG heavy, and thus it's referred to as the arts gacha because of it. While you're in the arts menu and you don't have an arts list, you can press or hold up or down on the D-pad, and you'll notice that Activate Minato is flashing. If I press on Light Heal, so select Light Heal, press A, and then press down, you'll see that I have an empty art, if you can call it that. It's just going to end up either empty or it's going to give me some null screwed up art, so I'm not going to bother swapping it out. Sometimes you can get a random art from a character, which is what we're looking for. You may also get something completely different, like the flee command, which is far less useful. There is no currently known way to manipulate what art appears, and because of that, calling it the arts gacha is pretty fitting. I had a couple theories, like the arts that appear in the gacha are slightly influenced by the current map, or by the system time and date, but after a ton of testing, I'm not too certain about this anymore. Some arts do feel more common than others though, so we might still be able to figure out a way to manipulate the arts gacha in the future. I got Healy Counter. Those that don't know, Healy Counter is identical to Charla's Heal Counter art, and it belongs to Kino, a Future Connected exclusive character. Normally, you'd only have access to this art in Future Connected, but Arts Inheritance allows us to use it here too. I'm going to put Healy Counter on my arts bar and show that the art is still functional, despite being on a character that isn't the art's original owner. I just have to wait for a moment until the Caterpile shows up so that I have something to target. I'll target Shulk with Healy Counter and we'll see what happens. Shulk uses the Shadow Eye animation and gets the damage heal buff, proving that the art still works. Shulk obviously doesn't have an animation for Healy Counter, so he ended up using the Shadow Eye animation instead. This is because each art calls a specific animation when used, and it just so happens that the animation for Kino's Healy Counter is the same animation that Shulk uses for Shadow Eye, which is why Shadow Eye's animation was used here. If we take a look at Healy Counter back in the arts menu, you'll see that the cooldown is a strange 61.8 seconds. Checking the Xenoblade wiki shows that Healy Counter is supposed to have a 60-second cooldown at level 1, and it decreases by 1.8 seconds per level. The reason the cooldown is higher here is because the art is being treated as level 0, so it takes the cooldown decrease per level, and instead adds it to the level 1 cooldown, resulting in what we see here. This time I got Sword Drive. I'll put Sword Drive over Shulk's Shaker Edge, and Ryan already has it on his arts bar, so I can't add another. Let's go find an unfortunate Bunnet and see what kind of animation Sword Drive uses. Looks like Sword Drive uses Minato Purge's animation. A little long, but Sword Drive is a good move regardless. Now I'll go back into the arts menu and talk about damage calculation. All arts, regardless of who they're on, rely on the original owner's art level, weapon min and max damage, and original owner's strength or ether stat, depending on if the art deals physical or ether damage. I'll go change Ryan's weapon to something more powerful to show that even though the art is on Shulk, the art still calculates damage using Ryan's stats. Sword Drive's previous minimum damage was 5,079, and now after the weapon change, it's shot right up to 7,863. Now, I'm going to show off... Oh, hang on. Before I do that, I'm going to go back into Shulk's arts here, and I'm going to remove, let's say, Shadow Eye, Air Slash, Battle Soul. We'll keep the rest. But I wanted to have some open slots here. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to enter Expert Mode, drop Shulk down 1 level, and then raise him back up to 99. What this does is it'll refresh his arts list. So, Shulk now has all of his arts back, and everything is now being treated as level 1 instead of level 0. In other words, when you don't have an arts list, your arts are all treated as level 0. When you do have an arts list, everything will be set back to level 1 unless the character was used as the restricted party character. Anyways, the important thing to show here is I have 2 backslash. This is arts duplication. What happens is characters will relearn arts in the order that they are meant to be learned. So like backslash is a level 1 art, for example, right? Because I already had backslash on my bar, but I had an open slot, and backslash was Shulk's first learned art, it slapped another backslash onto my bar because the game was like, oh, you haven't learned this yet, here you go, put it on the bar because there's an empty slot. Because of that, I have 2 of them now. So, what do you think happens if I use one of them? Does it use the other? No, it doesn't. You can use both of them independently of each other. Though they share the same damage calculation, they don't share a cooldown, which is really cool. You can see that both are 2638 to 3006 here, and then if I level it up a couple times, now they should both be over 3,000, and they are. So there you go. If you wanted, you could technically beat the game multiple times, like, what, 6 more times, I guess? And perform the time trial glitch each time. Keep an empty slot open on your bar, and level Shulk using Expert Mode in order to fill your bar with backslash. You could have 8 backslash on your bar if you really wanted to. Now, whether that's optimal or not, well, I'll leave it to you to decide. Anyways, having an arts list on one character, but missing an arts list on another character, brings up another method of arts inheritance that we can use. When we're in this situation, you can hover over the character who has an arts list, and then go to a character who doesn't have an arts list. Select an art, and press down, and it'll inherit the top art from the character whose arts list does exist. Now, Shulk is also a special case, because he has 2 different arts lists. His regular arts, where backslash is at the top, and his Minato arts, where Buster is at the top. So by opening Activate Minato for the Minato arts here, and then going to Rhine, let's replace Bone Upper. We can grab Minato Buster and put it on Rhine's bar. as well as backslash. Pretty handy, I would say. So let's go try those out. Well, backslash first. I'm pretty sure that was Rage. I think it was Rage's animation. Now, as for Buster, it's not lit up, right? You probably can't use it. Or can you? Not only can you use it, it doesn't have a cooldown, because generally, it would be limited by Activate Monado. But because Ryan doesn't have a Monado gauge, he can just use the move over and over. He can literally spam it. The same goes for any Monado art on any character other than Shulk, which is pretty handy. Especially when you consider Buster on someone like Dunban uses the Gale Slash animation, but it still maintains the AoE, or at least the line damage. I'll bring these two enemies closer. And there you go. It kills both of them in one shot, which just further proves my point. If you're able to get a talent art, like, let's say, Shulk's Activate Monado, and put it on Ryan's bar, you will be able to activate your talent art, whatever's in your talent art slot, at any range, as long as you can target the enemy, because Activate Monado doesn't have a distance requirement at all. So it can just work wherever you want it to. That also being said, what if you get Mad Taunt and get Mad Taunt to swap with another art? Like, what if you get a Mad Taunt art and you swap it with Sword Drive? It behaves the exact same as how it would if you were to just swap arts normally. They would swap spots, right? That means you could theoretically get Mad Taunt from the Arts Gacha, swap it with Sword Drive, which is already on your bar, and get Sword Drive into the center. Okay, that sounds pretty cool, but Sword Drive probably still has a cooldown, right? Yes, it does. However, what if we combine that with what I was talking about before? Sword Drive in Talent Art slot, and let's say Activate Monado on your bar over on, like, War Swing, right? You could spam Activate Monado and get infinite range, infinite use Sword Drive. If that doesn't pique your interest, I don't know what will. That's pretty powerful. You can also use a bunch of other things, like you could put, say, Mind Blast on Ricky or someone instead of Melia, and put it in the Talent Art slot, right? And then just spam Mind Blast. That's pretty cool. Spam Sword Drives. You can already spam Buster. What if you get, like, Cyclone? And then put Cyclone on, say, Ryan's bar or Dunban's bar or something. And you can spam that for a massive amount of AoE and topple without any cooldown. That's also pretty cool, right? Absolutely breaks the game, I would say. Another thing I want to talk about is multi-hit attacks. So, Dunban's Worldly Slash, normally he hits twice, right? Well, what if you put it on Ryan? Again, I'm unable to show this, but if you were to put it on Ryan, does Ryan hit twice? The answer is no. He actually will hit 4 times. Now, why is that? It's because of the animation that's used. Ryan will use the War Swing animation, which hits 4 times. However, it'll still use the regular damage calculation from Dunban's Worldly Slash, art level, his strength, and his weapon damage in order to calculate the damage that it deals, and it'll also apply the defense debuff that Worldly Slash normally applies, but it'll hit 4 times instead of twice. And another thing you're probably wondering, well, if it uses War Swing's animation, does that turn it into an AoE? The answer is no. A single target art will remain a single target art, even if it gets an AoE animation. In the same vein, if an AoE art is used and it has a single target animation, it'll still be AoE. So, basically, I'm just trying to say that the effects of the art are preserved, but the animation dictates how many times it'll hit, which is very good to know. Before I end the video, I want to do some shoutouts because I did not discover Art's Inheritance or Art's Duplication myself. I only learned about these glitches thanks to Test Account, who posted a ton of Art's Inheritance related videos on Twitter. When I asked Test about it, Test linked me to a Reddit post made by Hyper-T. This video was only possible thanks to the two of them. Both of their Twitters and the Reddit post will be linked in the description. I would definitely suggest checking them out if this video interested you at all. That's all for this video. If there's anything that I missed or needs further explanation, let me know in the comments. If anything more is found, I will do a follow-up video as well. Again, big thank you to Test Account and Hyper-T, and thank you as well for watching.